Y'all, and welcome or welcome back to the channel and another weekly horoscope. This is going to be one hell of a week. Let me know in the comments where you have Virgo and Leo in your chart, because those are going to be the major players. Actually, Cancer too, but that will be more so later towards the weekend because we're going to have Venus moving into Cancer. And I believe next week it will join Jupiter. So that's when the area of life, the house you have Cancer ruling, is really going to get a focus. This week, the major players are Leo, as it has been, and Virgo, as it has been. But this is really going to be the last hurrah of the Mars South Node conjunction in Virgo. So this is really like it's going out with a bang, because we start off, I don't know if y'all heard that. I just like hit my water glass and my straw. My straw is metal, so it like hit glass and made a noise. What was I about to say? We have, Venus, the moon. The moon is going to be on the Mars South Node conjunction tomorrow. The moon is already in Virgo, but it will join Mars in the South Node on Monday, and it's in my 12th house, which has not been fun for me personally. It has been a lot of like aggression that I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, I literally don't know where this is coming from. I'm not an angry like person, so I don't know. I mean, I'm a manifesting generator, so I have it in me. I know I have it in me, but it's not my normal state of being. It's not something I'm normally like dealing with on a daily basis or like a minute to minute basis. And on the South Node in my 12th house has been a lot of anger. Maybe it was there all along because it's my 12th house and it's just coming to light now. Who knows? Mars does rule my my 7th house and my 2nd house, so it could be unresolved stuff. Anyways, this is, July's been crazy. I've been saying this all year, said this in the update I gave about 2025. I did an overview of 2025 in my Inner Circle membership. Going month to month into all the transits and what was important month to month, and July always has looked like a just shit show. Honestly, even back in, I've been aware of this summer and how crazy things were going to be since like 2021. I remember 2021, I was living in Hawaii and I was renting a room where I had like 2 other roommates. Or at that time, only one person was living in like one of the other rooms. So I had one roommate and we were all talking one night about the astrology and about Uranus moving into Gemini, because I had been looking ahead at it and I was like, oh no, like Uranus and Gemini, the last time that has happened was the Civil War. And then the most recent time was World War II. So like, what's going to happen with Uranus and Gemini the summer of 2025? Like, that looks crazy. That feels crazy. Here we are living it. I'm usually such a like optimistic person, but also Mars in the South Node has been squaring my moon in Sagittarius right now. So it's also been squaring Venus all week. So it's not just like, and I just posted a YouTube video on Friday about the retrogrades and bringing in how we can tie in all these transits to each other. We can tie in Mercury retrograde to Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo because Mercury rules Virgo. So those things are really deeply tied into each other right now. And that's why we're feeling a lot more explosive, a lot more aggressive, especially with our communication than usual. Like, so usually I'm a lot more optimistic of like, oh, here's the good things of this transit and here's like what's coming from this transit, which I do still have that outlook of like, there is good coming from this. I really do feel like, as I've talked about in other videos, this is big karmic release. This is big release of like an old identity, an old version of you that maybe like wasn't seen before, wasn't heard before, and now it's coming up so that we like honor it, hold space for it, and don't keep operating from those unhealed parts of ourselves, right? So that there's the optimism, but it's a little hard for me to find it right now. Like, have y'all know that TikTok audio where it's like, where is it? Like, I feel like I'm really having to dig deep for my optimism at the moment because it's just been a lot. It's been a lot for me. It's been a lot for me. And I say that with a smile, but if you're in my Inner Circle membership, you know how this has been showing up for me. It's not been any definition of fun whatsoever. Like, my life has just been a complete shit show crash out for the last 3 weeks, for the last 3 months, really, honestly, anyways. So that being said, this week things are wrapping up and that transit is ending. The Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo, the transit is ending. I do believe August will be a lot better. I do believe by this weekend, we'll really start to feel that. We'll really start to feel clarity and closure from all of these things that have been coming up. So that's this week and what to look forward to. So let's get into the horoscopes. Let me see if anyone is here live with us. Hey, Leah. I adore you too. Thank you. Going from a BC to a personal trainer, that's freaking amazing. I love to see it. It's very Mars conjunct South Node in Virgo. Like, completely changing up our health routine, what we're doing to serve others, with our gifts, very Virgo energy. If y'all have taken, those of you that have taken my Become an Astrologer course or gotten any courses or ebooks on astrology from me, know that that's how I view Virgo energy, is very much like, how are you using your gifts to be of service to the world? What are you sharing with others? And it's also at its most mundane and basic tied into health and routine, wellness and work. So makes a lot of sense, Leah. I'm excited for you. Okay, let's start with Aries Rising. God, and it's so hot in my house too. Like my AC keeps breaking. Anyways, okay, so Aries Rising, we start the week off with the moon on the south node on Mars and Virgo in your 6th house. This might be some big emotional release around your work, around your day-to-day routines and habits. It might kind of be a come to Jesus moment of feeling fed up with any of those things. And what you're doing to take care of yourself, and maybe how others are playing into that too, or your social circle playing into that, or maybe you're like, again, it's very much focused on your daily habits, Aries. Like, what are you doing on a daily basis to support yourself or not, and what needs to change around that? I feel like some revelation will come around that for you on Monday. And then as we get into Tuesday, the moon is going to be in your 7th house. It will be harmonizing with Uranus in your 3rd house before it opposes Saturn and Neptune in your 1st house. So this could be some conversation you have with somebody, like a neighbor, somebody you run into running errands, or somebody that you're close to, like in your life, some person that is not you. I feel like you might have a conversation, emotionally open up to somebody, and it gives you more clarity about these things you want to change in yourself and your life. Then later on Wednesday, there could be some emotional trigger that comes from somebody in your life that really, again, kind of has you reflecting on yourself, your identity, your appearance, and what needs to change about your habits that are either supporting or not supporting, like those beginnings that you're having and those things that you're changing about you and your identity. Also, Chiron is retrograde now, so there will be a introspective reflection on what changes you have made and what new beginnings you want to have. Maybe getting more clarity around all of those things. Maybe also because Venus moves into your 4th house on this day. And then we have the Mercury Cazimi in your 5th house. There could be some creative inspiration that comes through all of these things, even though there is challenge and conflict. It maybe gives you this renewal of inspiration or energy on what to create or what to share with the world that maybe you've been like toying with for quite some time as well. Maybe, again, related to those identity shifts, seeing what you do or what you want to do and share with the world as valuable, and yourself as valuable as well as it relates to that. Thursday and into the weekend, we're going to have the moon in your 8th house in Scorpio. It is going to challenge Pluto. And then it is going to challenge the Mercury Cazimi that we have in your 5th house. So this could kind of be like a make or break point where it might feel like friction between your community or social media and your creative passions and pursuits or dating, and like your ability to invest in those things for yourself in some way, or to have the resources to be able to do that. But it's like the release of that friction is through your money, is through your actual resources. And maybe even if that's, not money, it may be food, like really choosing to invest in yourself in new ways that maybe you've been putting off or avoiding. Again, it's very much like, okay, how can I take responsibility over the issues and problems that I continue to face in my life? Again, then we have the moon moving through your 8th house all weekend. So that's really going to give you a glimpse into the transformation that needs to occur as it relates to your resources and how you're utilizing things in your life to support you. And then on Sunday, there could be some big breakthrough or shift as it relates to your perspective of life. And maybe really you got the clarity and now it's like, okay, this is what I do with it. Kind of like a revelation of an understanding of insight on what you need to do to move forward with these changes in your life. So that's how you're going to end the week, Aries, which something to look forward to after all this chaos. Let me know how that resonates with you, and I will see you next week. Okay, Taurus, we start the week off on Monday with the moon on the south node on Mars in your 5th house. This could propel you into some release around creativity, or related to romance in some way. But I really think it's about more so your creative projects and passions and pursuits, what you're doing. You might get emotional clarity or feel some big emotional release around a creative project that you've been working on. There's going to be a lot of transformation this week in your career, and it might come through supportive people in your life. It could positively benefit your money in a lot of ways as well. Like you're getting clarity and feeling supported on these work pursuits or these health pursuits that are somehow tied into your work. It feels like your whole life is just kind of supporting you to do this new thing that maybe you have already been doing or wanting to do. And it just feels like it's finally coming together this week. Especially as we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and most of Thursday, the moon will be moving through your sixth house in Libra, giving you more clarity on what needs to be balanced in your life as it relates to like your daily routines when it comes to work and what you're doing on a daily basis to build the career that you want and have the transformation there that maybe you've been building or taking steps towards for some time. As we get into the weekend, the moon is going to move into Scorpio in your seventh house. It will challenge Pluto in your 10th house, and then later on Friday it's going to challenge, well, actually early in the morning on Friday it's going to challenge Mercury, the Mercury cazimi we have in your fourth house. So this could almost feel like a tug of war between your home, your family life, and your career. But again, it does feel like there's some version of you that's stepping out of this renewed, like almost like you're leaving an old version of yourself behind and really just like having faith that it's all going to work out for you in the ways that it needs to. Especially with Venus, your chart ruler, moving into your third house, it does feel like this is starting to be a really good time as we get into the weekend to share your creative pursuits and passions. I do feel like you will be experiencing a renewal of inspiration and creativity as it relates to what you're doing and what you're sharing, and what you're working towards. So that's the week ahead for you, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Gemini Rising, we start the week off with the moon on the South Node on Mars in your fourth house. There could be some big emotional release around home or family. Maybe you've been purging a lot of material possessions, that kind of thing as well. You could also be making a lot of changes or just reflections on your day-to-day habits, where you're going, who you're talking to, what you're doing on a daily basis. It does feel like as we get into the week, as the moon moves into your fifth house, you could be feeling more creatively inspired. There could be like this big shift of your creative inspiration because of maybe the subtle change you made in your daily habits or routines. That feels like it's going to positively benefit your relationships, where you're headed in your career, your money, especially as we're going to have Venus moving into Cancer on Thursday into your second house of money. That does feel like a positive shift. Although it might require some discipline on your part, whether that's being consistent with showing up on social media or consistently like hosting events within your community. It does feel like, you know, there's gonna have to maybe be some discipline or just consistency with what you're doing to bring that in for yourself, but the potential is there, right? And I feel there's gonna be this renewal of energy around that as we get later into the week. Then as we head into the weekend, on Friday, the moon moves into your sixth house, into Scorpio. So you might just be cleaning house again around your routine, around what you're doing on a daily basis, maybe needing to structure your time in a better way that's more supportive for you, especially financially, and what you're wanting to do and share and create. Mars is about to move into your fifth house. So I feel like right now, like it's all about cleaning up the junk, the gunk, the bad habits or what have you. That just aren't serving you, so you can really step into this new when the energy comes as we head into August. But I do feel like there could be some friction around that on Friday, as the moon, like I said, is going to be in Scorpio and challenging Pluto, and then the Mercury cazimi in your third house. Maybe there's an uncomfortable conversation you have to have with somebody or about something, maybe with yourself, like a come to Jesus moment of like, okay, I can't keep going about this the way I have been, because it's no longer serving me. And then there could be some breakthrough revelation as we get into Sunday, when the moon is going to be in Sagittarius, your seventh house, opposite Uranus in your first house. There could be some big relationship shift or identity shift that comes through an emotional kind of like an emotional breakthrough. Maybe first comes a breakdown. There's maybe some further things you have to release in your emotional body, but I do feel like you'll get the clarity you need and it will feel like a huge relief. and great end to the month. So that's the week ahead for you, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates, and I will see you next week. Okay, Cancer Rising. Oh, I put this on without even like trying. It's at 3:33 a.m. Okay, we start the week off with the Moon, South Node, Mars conjunction in your third house of errands, of neighbors, of where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis, of also your mindset and your communication, your belief system. So all of that could go through a really big emotional revamp. You could get this emotional kind of epiphany around what needs to change in how you're talking to yourself. Maybe it's different than how you talk to others. So really starting to like just have more grace with yourself and your habits. What's that? It reminds me of that quote. I think it's like I can't remember the guy's name, but it's like once we accept ourselves, then we can change. That's like this energy. Then as we get into Tuesday, the moon moves into your fourth house. You might be feeling more homely, more like decorating or rearranging your home. But there could be something in your career that's kind of pulling you away from being able to do that. But I do feel like there's like this whole week for you, Cancer Rising, is about like epiphanies. And breakthroughs and just getting clarity around maybe things you have felt like stagnant about or felt stuck around for a while. As we get into Wednesday, the moon in Libra in your fourth house is going to challenge Jupiter in your first house. There could be some conflict between your home or your family that kind of feels like an affront to you and kind of feels like a dimming of your light in whatever way. But I do feel like as we get into Thursday and Venus moves into your first house, I do feel like whatever that was is going to kind of clear up pretty quick. I mean, it's also involving the moon. So the moon transits never last long, thank God, because they are emotional, or they can be very emotional. But I do feel like give Venus in your first house a little time to do its magic, because it's not only gonna square Saturn and Neptune at the beginning of the transit, we also have at the beginning of the transit the moon opposite Chiron. So there could be some further triggering stuff that maybe comes through your career or your home or your family that kind of triggers you in an emotional way around relationships, around behaviors as it relates to like, how do I want to say that? Like matters of the heart. But I do feel like you're getting a lot of clarity around your money. There could be some friction around that on Friday, maybe related to like your creative pursuits or passions, or maybe even dating. So it feels like maybe something is pulling you away from this thing you want to do in your finances or as like a side hustle or something like that. But I do feel like you can lean on friends for support. You can lean on your community for support when things get hard and feel challenging and conflicting like they might as we head into the weekend with the moon squaring all of these things for you. But the moon will also harmonize with Venus in your first house. So you could like create something really amazing and then like have this moment of doubt, but don't let that moment of doubt destroy what you created. That's amazing. Maybe ask for feedback on it from friends. Like I said, I do feel like that support is there if you ask for it. And then I do feel like emotional clarity will come as we get more into the weekend, especially around your creative pursuits and what you're doing for work and maybe starting a new venture as it relates to that as well. So that's your week ahead, Cancer Rising. Let me know how it resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Leo Rising, we start the week off with the moon on Mars and your in the South Node in your second house. This could be some big release around money. This could be a big emotionally frustrating release around resources, around money, around food. Maybe realizing you need to clean up some habits as it relates to any of those things, or just really look at your finances in a way that maybe you've been putting off or avoiding. There's this emotional drive to do something about your money. And then as we get later into the week, on Tuesday, the moon moves into your third house. I do feel like you're going to be feeling more expressive. If you've been feeling not emotionally expressive, not expressive in general, because Mercury is retrograde in your first house, I do feel like the moon on Tuesday is going to, and really the middle of the week, is going to give you that boost of expression that maybe you've been needing to have, especially as it relates to like your relationships and what's going on there. There could be this big miracle or transformation, change of energy, maybe related to a friend or talking to someone about what's been going on, and you get clarity through that. Although it does feel like it's going to question your perspective of life and maybe what you like past experiences or past traumas or even like relationships you've had in the past, and it's learning how to approach this differently than maybe you would have before. There could be something challenging that comes up around that on Wednesday, as the moon in your third house is going to challenge Jupiter in your 12th. But this could also bring something emotionally to light that you didn't realize was there. Again, maybe it's a pattern that you've been subconsciously acting out and didn't realize. I do feel like the transits of this week as they progress are going to give you that clarity. So then maybe you know how to approach the situation with some balance and with some fairness. There could be something, though, on Thursday that is emotionally triggering, as the moon is going to be opposite Chiron in your 9th house, and Chiron is now retrograde. So this could really have you reflecting on the wounds that you've held on to, maybe from past experiences, like I said, and needing to clear those. Maybe through having a vulnerable, emotional, uncomfortable conversation. Venus also moves into your 12th house on Thursday as well. So there could be some themes shifting around your relationship dynamics, again, that are calling into question experiences and belief systems you've been operating from up until now. Then as we get into the weekend, Friday, the moon moves into your 4th house into Scorpio. You might be feeling more like a homebody. You might be feeling like, okay, I really need some time to myself to reflect on these things. And how I want to move forward with them. Also, as the moon is in Scorpio, it's going to challenge Pluto in your 7th house. So this could feel like your emotional needs are at odds with what's going on in a relationship or your relationships in general. Then the moon is going to challenge the Mercury cazimi we have in Leo in your 1st house. This could really run the risk for blowing things out of proportion as it relates to how you're communicating yourself and your needs. But I do feel like there could be a breakthrough in your career come the weekend, which I know sounds like counterintuitive, but it's there. The potential for it is there through all this challenge in these other areas. And then as the moon continues to move through your 4th house, I do think there will be some transformation related to your subconscious or psyche, things from childhood maybe, or past experiences, maybe related to family or home in general. And then Sunday could propel you into some breakthrough emotionally around that, around dating, around romance, around your community, how you're showing up in the world. It could feel like you have this epiphany all of a sudden, and now you know how to move forward with the clarity that you received. So that is your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Virgo Rising. Ha la la. We start the week off with the moon on the south node on Mars in your 1st house. This is going to be a very big emotional drive to release an old identity. To maybe even release something in your mindset around your sense of self, your identity, as it relates to how you're taking care of yourself too. It could be this big rebirth is how I'm seeing it. That's been building for the past month, and it all kind of comes to a head as we have this transit on Monday. But it does feel like there could be something about that is conflicting or challenging within your career. Maybe middle of Monday. Then as we get into Tuesday, the moon moves into your 2nd house, into Libra. It's going to harmonize with Uranus in your 10th house. So this feels like some positive emotional shift as it relates to your money, your resources, your finances, and related to your career and your work as well. I mean, this creates a grand trine between Uranus and Pluto in your 6th and 10th houses. So this could be a big positive emotional shift with money, with career, related to whatever identity you've really released and let go of. As the moon continues to move through your 2nd house in Libra, it is going to challenge on Wednesday Jupiter in your 11th house. So there could be something about your money or your finances that kind of challenges something about your community or your friend group or your ability to show up or work on social media or something like that. And then on Thursday, there could be something that kind of triggers you about money as well, as the moon will be opposite Chiron in your 8th house, and now Chiron is retrograde in your 8th house. So there's a lot coming up around resources, support, feeling supported, not only through your relationships, which I feel like is there, but also money. I feel like I've been saying that word a lot in all of your weekly horoscopes, Virgo. It's a really big theme for you, and what you're doing to bring it in, what really, is aligned, what isn't, and making space for what you want. Also on Thursday, Venus moves into your 11th house. So I do feel like you're going to be feeling more social with Venus moving through your 11th house, more like posting on social media or hanging out with friends or just being within community and feeling that support from those around you. Then as we head into the weekend on Friday, the moon, or later on Thursday and into Friday, the moon moves into your 3rd house, into Scorpio. It's going to harmonize with Venus and Cancer in your 11th house. Then it is going to challenge Pluto in your 6th house. Then it is going to challenge the Mercury Cazimi in your 12th house. So there could be a lot of subconscious themes coming up related to the identity work you've been doing, related to the new sense of self you're stepping into. There could be a lot of belief system stuff or subconscious mindset stuff that comes up, and maybe just some not so great habits that you've still been clinging onto for comfort, that you're realizing don't serve you in this new chapter that you're headed into. And I do feel like as the weekend progresses, especially as we get into Sunday and early on Sunday, the moon will oppose Uranus in your 10th house. There could be some big breakthrough around that, and what needs to shift, what needs to go in order to have what you want in this new chapter of your life. So that's the week ahead for you, Virgo. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Libra Rising. We start the week off with the moon on Mars on your south node in the 12th house. This could be some big emotional subconscious belief being released. It's like this big emotional drive to do something differently, to change your subconscious. This could be really taking to journaling. This could be really like talking to ChatGPT as like a therapist, or actually hiring a therapist. It could be a big emotional crash out that leads you to feel a lot better about your life moving forward. Maybe that's been building all month. So that could really come to a head on Monday. And then as we get into Tuesday, I feel like you're going to be experiencing this emotional renewal as the moon moves into Libra, into your 1st house. It's going to harmonize with Uranus in your 9th and Pluto in your 5th. So there could be some big, again, emotional renewal of inspiration, of creativity, of seeing life differently, because maybe you allowed yourself to feel the feelings of what was coming up, of what was suppressed or repressed or blocked, and you felt the things, and there's like this rebirth that comes from that and this emotional renewal. Although Tuesday also could be a bit of back and forth tension between what's going on with your relationships with other people in your life and your emotional need to focus on you. So just watch out for that. Then as we get into Wednesday, the moon in Libra is going to challenge Jupiter in your 10th house. So this could be some challenge or friction between you and your emotional need to focus on you and what's going on in your career. There might just be an emotional conflict between the two for a little bit of time on Wednesday. Then as we get into Thursday, the moon, before it moves into Scorpio, is going to be opposite Chiron retrograde in your 7th house. So this could bring up some wounds around relationship stuff that maybe has you just feeling some type of way emotionally about you. It could really trigger you to look at what relationship experiences in the past have contributed to the wounds that are there, and maybe healing them through introspection. Then, like I said, later on Thursday, the moon moves into Scorpio in your 2nd house. It's going to harmonize with Venus, that is now in your 10th house. Yay for Venus in your 10th house. This is really good energy for your career, for showing up to the world, for public recognition, but it will be challenging Saturn and Neptune in your 7th as it moves through the early degrees of Cancer. So that could be, again, conflict and challenges between your relationships, what's going on there, and what needs to happen in your career, what needs to be a focus in your career. It's kind of like this internal turmoil between other people in your life and what you need to be doing on the external world. Does that make sense? But it will be, as it first moves into Cancer, harmonizing with the moon and Scorpio in your 2nd house. So this could be some big positive emotional shift around your finances related to your public image or career in some way. But then the moon in Scorpio is going to challenge Pluto in your 5th and the Mercury Cazimi in your 11th. So this could really propel you into some deep transformation again, revolving around your goals, your passions, like what you're doing, and your emotional drive and passion to make money could go through or experience a shift with this energy. But then I feel like as we get into the weekend, this is going to be a positive time for your career, like I said, because the moon is going to be harmonizing with all that's in Cancer in your 10th house. And I do feel like you could receive some pretty insightful breakthroughs around all of that as we get later into the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, as the moon is going to move into Sagittarius on Sunday and oppose Uranus in your 9th house. So this could be some big shift around your belief systems, your communication, your perspective of life could receive some emotional kind of breakthrough and shift all of a sudden. So that is your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. All right, Scorpio Rising. We start the week off with the moon on Mars on the South Node in your 11th house. This could be some release of maybe a version of yourself that you've been presenting on social media that didn't feel super authentic. I feel like there's going to be this emotional drive to release some part of yourself to show up differently. I also feel like there could be some big shift or change this week around everything that's going on with your career. And I do feel like that's been a huge focus for you, Scorpio Rising, over the last few months. As we get into Tuesday, the moon's going to move into your 12th house. It will harmonize with Uranus in your 8th and Pluto in your 4th. This could be some deep transformation as it relates to like your subconscious, your childhood dynamics, family, home, maybe even like your where you're physically living. There could be some positive change in your finances that allows you to have more space to look at deep subconscious things. That changes, like, change it on the internal, it changes on the external is the message that I'm getting about that. Then as we get into Wednesday, the moon in Libra challenges Jupiter in your 9th house. Again, this could propel you into some sort of big philosophy shift, like your perspective of life is changing from all of these things that are happening underneath the surface. And now we have Chiron retrograde as well. And on Wednesday into Thursday, the moon is going to be opposite Chiron in your 6th house. So again, this could bring up some big triggers or wounds around, I feel like, your worthiness as it relates to what you're doing for work. And with Venus moving into your 9th house, it's like this big renewal. I feel like you're getting so much clarity around the mindset things and the belief systems that have maybe been holding you back from some sort of new beginning in your career and what you're doing, like your long-term goals and visions. And you're getting the clarity you need this week to make those changes and to act on them. But Thursday and into Friday could feel a little challenging as it relates to what's going on in your home and your career. It can really challenge you emotionally, like your appearance, your sense of self, your identity, as the moon is going to be moving through your first house as it squares what's in your 10th house and what's in your 4th house. But that could create this potential for somebody in your life to support you through this. Maybe that's just one supportive person that you know that can help you, or a friend. Someone that can like be there for you as these things are really challenging you and your emotional world. Then as we get into the weekend, I do feel like there's going to be a breakthrough around your money, around your finances, around how all of these things are showing up for you. And like I said, how you're taking action on them and moving forward with the clarity you're receiving, the breakthroughs that are coming to you. So that is your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. All right, Sagittarius Rising. We start the week off with the moon on Mars on the South Node in your 10th house. This could be a big emotional release or emotional drive to do something differently in your career. You could be launching something new. You could be really like fed up and done with the old that's no longer working for you in your career. Or maybe you're releasing a career to focus more on your home or your family in some way, or just changing what you're doing and how you want to be known to the world. It feels like some big emotional breakthrough and release. Then as we get into Tuesday, the moon moves into your 11th house. It's going to harmonize with Uranus in your 7th and Pluto in your 3rd. So this could actually be a really creative day for you. It feels like whatever shift happened, you're really feeling this like renewal of energy, of creativity. You could, because of that, be attracting better people in your life that feel more supportive of you, or just wanting to show up differently within the people that you interact with and have in your life. As we get into Wednesday, the moon is going to challenge Jupiter in your 8th house. So this could bring up some themes around resources, around money, around feeling supported by those things. And then later on Wednesday and into Thursday, the moon is going to be opposite Chiron in your 5th house. So this could trigger some wounds. Chiron is retrograde now. So this could trigger some wounds internally around you sharing your creative passions and your gifts. Maybe there's a gift that you have that you now want to bring into your career, or, after many years of just it being for you, you want to make a career out of it, and there's some self-doubt that's coming up. But I do think, like I said, you have supportive people in your life to lean on to kind of overcome that. And then on Thursday, Venus moves into your 8th house as the moon moves into your 12th house. This could be a lot of internal reflection on subconscious beliefs that are maybe playing out in terms of that, what I just spoke to, feeling insecure about this change in some way, and needing to just really shift your beliefs around it, and doing the internal work to make that happen. We have the Mercury Cazimi in your 9th house squaring the moon in the 12th house. So again, there could be some big, as we get into the weekend, especially on Friday, there could be some big breakthrough as it relates to subconscious blocks or things maybe even from a past life that have been affecting how you view life, and you're getting more clarity around those changes you want to make as it relates to those things, so they don't keep repeating themselves and creating these roadblocks for you that don't belong. Then later in the weekend on Sunday, there might be a big shift around like your identity, your sense of self, your appearance, because the moon is going to move into your 1st house, prompting for an emotional renewal. And as it does that, it is going to be opposite Uranus in your 7th house. So there could be some big shift emotionally around your sense of self, your identity, how you're viewing you, and maybe your relationships too. So that is the week ahead for you, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Capricorn Rising, we start the week off with the moon on Mars on the South Node in your 9th house. This could be some big perspective of life shifts, some big emotional drive to change how you're viewing life. Whether that's really getting clear on like the mental stuff, the mental chatter that's coming up around everything, maybe even related to your work and what you're doing, you know, your daily habits, what you're doing on a daily basis for work to take care of yourself could challenge this emotional breakthrough, could challenge you to grow in that area and really just view things differently. Then as we get into Tuesday, the moon's going to move into your 10th house. It's going to harmonize with Uranus in your 6th and Pluto in your 2nd. So this could be a positive breakthrough on your work, career, money. Maybe again, like you realize like, oh, I just need to go about this differently. I just need to change my energy or what I'm telling myself about this thing that I'm doing in my career. And it will actually change. Like one of my biggest realizations about life and is related to this, Capricorn. I feel like this is what you're experiencing right now, is realizing like you're the puppet master of what's happening in your life. And every time I have these epiphanies of like, I just need to change how I'm thinking about this. And then I do, it literally changes. It has a ripple effect of how it affects my actual life, right? So I feel like that's really the biggest breakthrough and thing that's changing for you this week, Capricorn, is how you're viewing life and what the stories are in your head that are creating how you view life, and that's actually creating your life. Tuesday and into Wednesday, the moon is going to challenge Jupiter in your 7th, so there could be some conflict or friction, challenges between your ability to show up emotionally in your career and what's going on within your relationships. Like maybe your relationships have felt really expansive and you're meeting a lot of people, but it also feels like that's kind of energetically consuming you and you're not able to on Wednesday, you might face this where it feels like it's challenging your ability to show up in your career in the ways that you want to. Then as we get into Thursday, the moon moves into your 11th house, but before it does that, it's going to oppose Chiron, which is now retrograde in your 4th house. Again, this could be showing you what really needs to change about your wounds or triggers that maybe were passed down from your lineage or from childhood. What's going on in your home and family that's triggering you. It really needs this emotional release. You might be somehow bringing it into your career as well. Venus also moves into your 7th house on Thursday, so there could be some breakthrough that comes up around feeling supported by other people in your life and also your home in some way. Then, like I said, the moon moves into your 11th house into Scorpio. It challenges Pluto in your 2nd, challenges the Mercury Cazimi in your 8th. Big themes around money coming up Thursday. And as we get into the weekend, how are you making it? What are you doing with it? How are you investing it? Do you want to shift up your investments? Do you want to shift up how you're making money, where it's going, all of that kind of stuff? And maybe you're feeling like supported by friends or community in some way to be able to do that in the ways that you really want to. And then Friday feels like an emotionally supportive time in terms of the people you have around you. Again, I do feel like you're not doing this alone. Like you have the people you need to walk through this time with you to give you the clarity on how to move forward and make these changes that you're being presented with to need to make. Then there could be some uh, epiphany, breakthrough, transformation that happens Saturday into Sunday around that, as the moon is going to oppose Uranus in your 12th house. Again, could be some subconscious stuff that you get more clarity around through the events of the week, and you can reflect on it and make changes as we get into the weekend. So that is the week ahead for you, Capricorn. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Aquarius Rising. We start the week off with the moon on Mars on the South Node in your 8th house of resources. There could be some emotional drive to really get clear on debt, taxes, investments. Like, what are you doing with the money that's coming in? There's been so much around your money since the beginning of the year, Aquarius, like really stepping into a new direction with it, really releasing old habits around it, maybe that are self-destructive habits. And I do feel like there's going to be some emotional resolution around that on Monday with this transit. As we get into Tuesday, the moon moves into Libra in your 9th house. There could be some perspective of life shift or belief system shift that's needed because of what came up and what has been coming up for the past kind of several weeks. But I do feel like there could be, because of that, some renewal of your energy, of your inspiration, of your creativity, and who you are and how you're being to create the things that you want. It's very much like law of attraction energy and like an epiphany related to that. Then Tuesday into Wednesday, the moon is going to challenge Jupiter in your 6th house. So it could feel like, again, maybe there's some habits you developed through this chaos and through this stressful time that aren't so helpful for you. And you're needing to kind of let those go. Then Wednesday into Thursday, the moon's going to be opposite Chiron, which is now retrograde in your 3rd house, prompting for some emotional tension between your wounds. Again, this is all kind of related to your belief system. It's all kind of related to your mindset, and how that's playing into like your life, right? It all stems from the stories that we tell ourselves. And then if we tell ourselves that we're a failure, we're going to do things that reinforce that belief, right? So for you, it's all about healing those wounds and those triggers around like what the stories are in your head that you're telling yourself that maybe aren't true and need a reevaluation. Especially as we're going to have on Thursday, the moon moving into Scorpio. It will harmonize with Venus that is now in your 6th house, while it squares Pluto in your 1st, and also squares, which is a challenging aspect, the Mercury Cazimi in your 7th house. So this is kind of like, there's a lot going on, but in your personal life, but I do feel like this is going to create positive changes in your career somehow. Y'all have to let me know how that resonates in the comments, because that is like so specific. It's like your career and your money is all of a sudden like there's positive shifts there, but then maybe your relationships are really kind of like a struggle at the moment. But it all comes down to like the inner work that you're doing around that kind of stuff. And there's a big need for you to really go within this week to look at how that's showing up in you and shift it. I don't know how else to say that. Again, yeah, as we get into the weekend, it feels like more emotional harmony between your career, the direction that you're headed with this, what you've been doing to make money, or if you're on some new beginning with that. It does feel like you'll get positive feedback or energy emotionally around that Friday and into Saturday. There could be some breakthrough as well around your creativity, your long-term goals, maybe your friends, community as well on Sunday, as the moon is going to oppose Uranus in your 11th house as it moves into Sagittarius and harmonizes with all that we have in fire signs right now too. So that could bring a positive breakthrough around whatever has been challenging in your communication and your relationships. So that's the week ahead for you, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Pisces Rising. We start the week off with the moon on Mars on your South Node in your 7th, on the South Node in your 7th house. There could be some emotional drive to release a relationship or a partnership with somebody. Doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a friendship. I mean, the 7th house rules all relationships. So, but I do feel like there is some emotional breakthrough and this need to take action, to cut something off, to release something for sure. Maybe related to your living situation as well. Then as we get into Tuesday, the moon moves into your 8th house into Libra. I do feel like this is a time to not only focus on like your resources, money, what you're doing with it, savings, investments, debt, taxes maybe, but also on your inner world. And maybe like the conflicts and the just things that have been going on in your relationships are really helping you to see more clearly subconscious patternings So it does feel like there's a big focus on that most of this week. But on Tuesday, there could be some challenge between something creatively that you have to do and your ability to focus on your inner world as well. Kind of like you're just not feeling it, but you have to do something that you said you were going to do or something like that. Then as we get into Wednesday, the moon is going to be opposite Chiron, which is now retrograde in your second house, bringing an introspective look and energy to your finances and to your money. Are you still going about it? Are you still making it in ways you want to be? What adjustments do you need to make to feel more emotionally clear, to be like feeling like you're supported by money and you're not burning yourself out to make it? Then as we get into Thursday, the moon moves into Scorpio in your ninth house. I feel like this could, and Venus is now in your fifth house. The moon will be harmonizing with it on Thursday. So this could bring about some positive shift as it relates to your creative passions, pursuits, and your energy. It almost feels like you come out of this cocoon and your energy changes, but also it could all of a sudden be really busy with work. There could be something there that's like challenging you. Maybe you're having to set more boundaries around what you're doing for work, or just how you're, I don't know, like having these open dialogues around, if you work with clients, like what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do kind of thing. It does feel like a boundary issue that maybe challenges your belief systems of a natural energy of like wanting to be there for everybody. It's kind of like you maybe have been running yourself too thin, and now you realize like I really need to like stop doing that and make the changes as needed to be able to feel more supported in what I'm doing and how I'm going about it. I do feel like that will be a positive shift for you, even if it is uncomfortable and not what you're used to doing. It could positively boost your creative inspiration as we get into the weekend. And then Saturday into Sunday, there could be some breakthrough around your home and your career life as the moon is going to move into Sagittarius in oppose Uranus and Neptune. Then the moon will harmonize with all that's in fire signs right now, which is a lot. We have Mercury Cazimi in a fire sign. We have Saturn and Neptune in a fire sign. So it does feel like, again, you've like almost like set these boundaries and then had more energy because of it and are able to do what you want to do now because you tidied up your energetic boundaries and things. So that's the week ahead for you, Pisces. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, that's the week ahead for everybody. Let me know how yours resonated with you. I'm going to see if y'all have any questions or anything you want to share in the comments. Makeup looks amazing. Thank you, Brittany. I had such a like crash out about my makeup earlier and kind of had to redo all of it. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I put timestamps on after the live is done. I can't do it right now because I'm literally like doing it right now. So after the live is done and processed, there will be timestamps as always. So thank you all for being here. I love you and appreciate you. Again, if you're waiting for your timestamp, give me a couple minutes. I got to do it manually after the live ends. Yeah, y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.